Hello guys, welcome back to AWMFX. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, no matter where you are. Hopefully you guys out there are doing great, earning a lot of money from the market, and of course taking great care of your health. The world has gone crazy, a lot of diseases is coming out. The COVID is almost finished, then suddenly there's some monkeypox, whatever. Alright, so take care of yourself. So today I want to share with you a very powerful combination of two setup, right? Two setup. So the first setup is about QMTR, right? Some of you may know, some of you do not know. So QMTR is actually the name of a Quasimodo that does not happen, right? So example, I give you an example. There are two examples. Okay. So imagine that we are having an uptrend. All right, we are having an uptrend. Then suddenly there is a break of structure. All right. So eventually we expect the price to come into the QML level for a drop. All right. This is what a usual QML supposed to look like. So QMTR, it does not do that. Right. So what happened was that we have the QML level. The price make a zone, supply or demand zone, depends on the situation, and break through it, right? So break through it. So once it has broke through it, this is a QMTR, right? This is QMTR, means that there is a chance when the price came back into the level, right? It will bounce from there, right? It will bounce from there. So this is a QMTR for a buy. So I'm going to draw the QMTR for the sell if some of you cannot imagine, right? It's something like that, right? So this is a QML, right? This is a QML. So it's supposed to bounce, all right? It's supposed to bounce right there, but it went up and then make a zone before it break through, right? So we have our QMTR. I'm gonna move this. Maybe I'm gonna move this chart a bit far. Sorry. Let me move it above a bit. All right. So means that when the price came back into the zone, it will continue to fall, right? So it's a very, very simple setup, right? It's a very simple setup, or maybe some of you have been trading QML, have some failed QML, so you might want to trade a QMTR. So by the way, QMTR, I just want to introduce a bit QMTR. QMTR is actually stand for Quasimodo tak respect in my native language. All right, it's Malay, taught to me by CMS. So QMTR is just a name. All right, it's just a name. The most important is the principle. All right, you may heard it from other mentor out there using other name. It doesn't matter. All right, important is the concept right there. Right, so this is the first setup. This is the first setup. So what do I mean? I'm gonna have to set up a combination, a deadly combination. All right. So one of the trade I'm able to call it very well. So the other one is that when we have a movement like this, all right, when we have a movement like this part right here, all right, I'm gonna make it different color, red color. This part right here plays an important role. All right. So if the price, right, is coming back very fast, right, and then drop, okay, it's a normal QMTR. It's a normal QMTR. If the price drop quite far, and then what happened eventually is that it's making a compression, right? It's making a compression. Then this is the deadly combination. This is a deadly combination, right? So QMTR plus compression, right? So of course, I'm going to introduce also compression. Some of you may know compression is actually a short movement of the price, right? The price is moving in a short movement, slowly climbing back up, right? Very, very slow climbing back up, and as destroying its own, in this example, it's destroying its own demand zone. It's supposed to have a demand zone right there. Then it started to consume, all right, destroy, or destroy or consume, and making all the demand zone no longer valid. All right, making the demand zone no longer valid. So when the price drop, it will drop very, very fast and very, very fast without any friction. All right, so this is a deadly combination. So I'm going to show two examples, which happens very, very recent. Right, so the first example here is Euro GBP. Right, Euro GBP. Euro GBP example is not really that how should I say clear, but later there's another example. It's very, very clear. Right, so first of all, let's look at the movement right there. Right, so you cannot at this point you really cannot see anything. Right, some of you, because your eyes are not trained that way. Right, your eyes are not trained that way. So the price came down. All right, the price came down, and then you can see very clear that the price moving up very, very slow. Right, moving up very, very slow. Not only that, it has consumed the demand zone. Right, you can see the demand zone is no longer there. The demand zone is no longer there, except for this one. All right, all no longer there. It's already consumed. Okay, all have been consumed except for the one and the only demand zone left. That's the only one. Other than that, it's no longer any demand zone. Right, it's no longer any demand zone. So this movement can be considered as a compression. So when there is a compression, what you should be looking at for, right? What you should be looking at for is that a possible of entry, right? So based on supply and demand, definitely we have a very good this one called is a bearish engulfing pattern, right? So you may take the trade like that and then drop. It's up to you. It's up to you. But the stop loss is definitely huge, which it's not for me. Definitely not for me. But some of you, you are able to trade that way. It's up to you. What I'm going to do is that I would like to find something more clear. All right, clearer. I would like to find something clearer. How should I say? It's a concrete or confirmation of a entry point for me. All right, so I'll be looking at QML. So first of all, of course, I will be looking at some setup QML. If there's no QML, maybe Qmtr. If not, it's maybe we call it ruler setup. If not, it's maybe resistance support become resistance. It's anything out there. But this pattern right there, the bearish engulfing, it gives you a lot of clues. All right, so we'll focus at this point. All right, let's focus here. All right, let's focus here. So when we go deep into this zone, right? So let me mark the zone first. When we go deep into this zone, so it's around 15 minutes there. So 15 minutes, we see actually a QMTR. All right, you can see the price slowly coming back down, right? Before it broke the structure. All right, before it broke the structure, going back up and then drop all the way. You can see it drops all the way. All right, so this is a QMTR. It's supposed to reject from this at this point. All right, it's supposed to reject at this point. Why? Because there is a QM level. Right, it's supposed to reject at that point. But one thing very, very beautiful right there is that when it drops, it gives you a hint. What hint was that? It's a double Maruking. Right, a double Maruking. So are you supposed to trade double Maruking just like that? No, no, that is a big mistake. That is one of the biggest mistakes. For me, this is of course an advice to you guys. When you started to use supply and demand, always trust supply and demand. Always go and find a supply zone or demand zone, right? Don't just use based on the king, right? It may work sometimes, it may not work sometimes. It's up to you. For me, I always trust supply and demand, so I will go even lower time frame to find a supply and demand zone. So luckily, when I go into one deeper zone, all right, just one deeper zone, 5 minutes, I can see very clearly that is a very strong, or should I say, very fresh zone right there. All right, a very fresh supply zone right there. Right, I'm gonna make it different color. Right, sorry for that. All right, I think this will be it. Right, so why do I use this zone? Very simple. You can see that this is a QML level. All right, it drops. So when it try to break that time, it make a drop base drop, a very clear drop base drop. All right, just now 15 minutes it give a hint, but in 5 minutes it's more obvious. It's very, very obvious. All right, so this will be my entry point. All right, this will be my entry point. So QMTR pattern, recognize it. It's very, very useful. It's very, very useful, right? A lot of people will think about only the QML level, right? A lot of people will think about the QML level, but sometimes you need to look out for a QMTR too. Okay, so when you go back into the higher time frame, right, the price came just at this point, right, into this zone, right, and then drop all the way, giving you an excellent risk reward ratio, right? This is definitely a very good risk reward ratio. And of course, I didn't do this trade. This trade was actually shared with me by one of the students, all right, privately. So I did not trade this. All right. So next, I'm going to show you another example of a deadly combination between a QMTR and also a compression. All right. This setup right there is a lot more obvious. All right. Of course, it's definitely more obvious than the previous one. Okay, we go to 1 hour. All right, you can see that actually the price during that time was making a compression. This is an even better compression. You can see that there is no demand zone left. No demand zone. The only demand zone left was over here, right? This is the only demand zone left, right? So okay, eventually it was tested. So overall, the price has been making a compression movement, very short movement, all right, and then consuming its own demand zone, right? So what is a QMTR at this point? Very simple, right? We go into time frame. So as the price was approaching to the top, right, most people, they will trade blindly. They will trade maybe this, will trade this zone, trade the zone. No, that is not how you do it. You should be looking out at some common pattern. All right, you can see that even I just pointed out, I can find 2 QMTR easily because this pattern is there. All right, in and out is every time, it's always there. Okay, so when I switch to M30, what I can see is that it's the similar kind of QMTR. Right, at this point, this is a QML. All right, supposed to reject over here. It's supposed to reject over here, but it didn't. Eventually, it came down. It forms a Doji King. All right, or we call double Maro King, Doji King, or whatever king you can see right there. All right, so this gives us a very, very good hint that the price has something to react over here instead of the top there. So this is a trade that I took. Okay, so if you go even one smaller time frame, yes, you can see a very, very clear zone. All right, I hope you guys can recognize what is a fresh supply zone. So this zone right here is a fresh supply zone, a very fresh supply zone, right? Not only that, later I'm going to show you why I took this trade, all right, with full confidence, right? So as I was drawing this zone, okay, I realized that this zone actually is a SSR, significant support resistance. You can see that the price right there, this is actually higher time frame price reaction. You can see that it's at higher time frame price reaction, not lower time frame, but a little bit higher time frame. Maybe H4 is also there, right? So it give me more confidence that saying that this trade, that's it, this will be a very excellent trade, right? This will be excellent trade. So what happened was that the price came, sorry for that, let me get, yes, all right. So the price came into the zone, right, exactly to the zone, and then drop, and drop all the way. All right, it has dropped since then, right? So of course, you ask me, I have took my profit. And I have an excellent trade on this. All right, it has grew my account, I don't know how many times, right? So just a simple trade, and then you might able to get another re-entry, and then re-entry, and then from there you try to layer a bit, all right, on the entry. So this is an excellent trade that you can see that 2 example of a QMTR with a compression combination, right? It's a deadly combination where you can get excellent R and R, right? So that's all for today. Hopefully you guys enjoy the videos that I did for you. And if you really do, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you can get more free educational videos such as this. Of course, I would like to give a lot example out there so that you guys can able to look through all the different type of patterns and tradable patterns. Of course, it's a profitable patterns. All right, so see you guys next time. Bye.